What's up, my good peoples? Welcome to the Be Transformed podcast, where we're talking about ideas that stimulate wholesome thinking unto identity, purpose, vision, and action. I am James Anderson, and with me is Logan Eaton and our man way back, Kyle Antiman. My good bros, what's cracking?
Hey there, James. It's good to be back.
Oh, man. It's good to be next to you.
Glad you're back.
Thank you. Just visited
The moon?
Sunshine State. Yeah.
The Sunshine State.
Yeah.
Is that Florida? They are the
North
Sunshine?
Dakota, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
South Dakota. The moon state.
Yeah.
What's going on down in Florida? Or what was going on?
They do oranges.
Well, a lot of retirement going on down there.
Mm.
A lot of medicinal marijuana.
Shuffleboard?
Oh.
And a lot of puppies. They got a lot of puppies down there.
Mm.
I'm serious.
What's
yeah,
with the puppies?
I don't know. We passed about 3 places that sold puppies.
Hmm.
Puppies are us, basically. They have them down there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't know. Must be
Marijuana, puppies, and oranges,
and retired individuals.
and retired people.
Yeah.
What else could you want?
I don't know. I guess it's a
All
good place
flows
to
together.
go. Yeah. All boils together.
I've seen it, man. You just get the orange, you pop the straw right in the orange, done.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the orange juice container.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was
good
just
stuff.
a hieroglyphic.
Yeah, that's how the Indians did it.
I don't think that's the directions on the... That's not the directions on the box, though.
What? So confusing.
I tried it, but
You tried the orange with the straw?
yeah.
Didn't work.
Nah, I just keep on breaking the straws.
Just kind of squeeze the orange.
I just like to mash them. Just squeeze them with your fist.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Stick them in the old bicep.
Did you get any good food down there? Did you find any?
Yeah, there's some good seafood down there.
Some cold.
Yeah.
Seafood.
Got it right by the ocean. Yeah.
What?
Good restaurants down there.
What in particular? Specifically?
Happy hour.
Oh gosh, some crab legs and stuff like that.
Wow.
Mm.
Some shrimp, scampi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Catch yourself?
Oh, it's no.
Oh, okay. It wasn't one of those restaurants.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
When there's fish, not mahi, but some other kind of fish that's popular down there.
Yeah.
Ahu, wahi,
Tilapia?
Mm.
No, not tilapia. Better than tilapia.
Oh, probably carp then.
Yeah, it's the carp.
Carpe diem.
The carp's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it, speaking of carps, is it fishing season out there in the old river?
I believe it's the walleye run going on.
Is that happening?
Mhm.
Really, right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They're running, huh?
Yeah.
Thought it was until next month.
No, I think they run until the end of March.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was a
Better
lot
get
later
out
than that.
there.
No, thanks.
No.
There's a lot of
A lot
there's
of
a lot of
cold
people
water.
out there. Yeah.
There's some cold water.
Man, I don't know if I could want to do that.
We could get in the raft.
I would do that.
And we
Well,
I don't think I'd
there's-
stand out there
You
though.
can try. There's a lot of boats out there, but you can try it out.
could just run right into them.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like packed.
It's
out
like
there.
a lot of
Get
people
like-
down there. Yeah.
like
Lines get tangled up.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Or there's certain spots where
Well,
there's
there's-
fish.
There's certain spots that are more opened up than others. But where people are, there tends to be the more fish.
Mm.
But there's fish all over the place. So it doesn't mean that there can't be fish. I don't know. Maybe we should check it out.
yeah, find a spot where nobody's at.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fish down there.
Mm.
I think
In,
it goes the end
Florida?
of March.
Or no?
No,
Here.
Maumee River.
The mommy.
Yep.
You getting the boat back out soon?
I actually sold it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Or it sank. You sold
Pretty
it?
much close to sinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Gave it back to Bill.
The owner?
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Anything new in the looks or?
possibly, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Was that sad?
I mean, it was about to explode anyway.
Yeah. I'm glad.
So
I'm glad you
really
could see
probably-
that.
So sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad,
It was a
fellas.
safety hazard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was definitely a safety
Yeah.
hazard.
I mean, sometimes you gotta you know.
When you get escorted by the safety patrol.
Oh
back
yeah,
to the
I
shore.
remember that. Right? That was
Jay?
Oh gosh, what was his name?
Jay,
Jay, Officer or Lieutenant Jay or something.
Coast Guard Jay.
Yeah, they were really nice, weren't they? I had that
They were.
mustache back then.
I feel like we should have got arrested that night,
Yeah.
and thank gosh we didn't.
He said you look like
Thank
some
gosh.
football player, and I looked like Pablo Escobar.
That's what all the holes in the
I
boat
do
were
remember
for.
that. Yeah, they got on board and they're like, usually when we get on a boat like this, it's on fire and people are drowning.
Yeah. Which means
We
You're
were
doing
doing-
good.
we're doing all right.
This is
And we
all right.
survived,
Yeah.
Which means we're supposed to keep going.
Do you guys have a boater's license?
What's that?
Is this receipt from the gas station account?
Right. Yeah. What month was that?
I was like back in August,
August. Was that August that time?
July or August.
Okay.
The month of the Kipper. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when I
The old boat.
Yeah.
Lost it. Gave it back.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
we-
Well, you got don't you have like an aluminum boat?
Little yeah, but it's in Wisconsin now.
It's a little bit of a journey to pick that baby
9
up.
hours away.
Do you have a bronze boat?
There's
Maybe.
I don't wonder if bronze would probably be too heavy, huh? For the water.
It's probably good at holding water, but not water holding it.
Not
Whoa.
buoyant. Is that the
Buoyantly?
word?
I don't
The
know.
buoyancy on it's kind of.
What do the science
me.
books say about buoyancy?
Well, it depends on how you spell it.
I
There's a
don't
couple
know,
different
titanium might be a little
That-
rough.
Yeah, that might actually float so much that it's not even
That
on
just
the
comes
water.
right above.
Yeah.
Right.
You're actually not even on the surface. But that's titanium. I mean, that's just
Good.
basic chemistry.
Dude, for real. I
But
mean, there's
You're the
lot-
boat guy.
I was.
You got the bait shop.
I was.
I
Can't
was
be a boat
man.
guy without
Yeah.
a boat.
Yeah, I was. and
Can't
now
be a
it's-
king. Can't be a king without a kingdom.
Yeah.
How's the yoga going?
Hot yogurt.
Oh my gosh, hot yogurt. Gross.
Yogurt. Good. It's been busy. I'm gonna be a yoga teacher someday. maybe.
Oh.
Maybe I'll teach. We'll see what happens. Got this next weekend off, so it's a good experience.
Good.
A lot of a lot of meditation.
Oh.
Is it like, do you have to take
Downward
tests
dogs.
and courses and stuff?
No, it's not that. It's not that serious. Yeah, there's no certification or anything like that. It's just to teach. They usually like people to go through some kind of training,
Right.
but it's not like a registered.
But hot yoga is where they
Well, I
douse you in lighter fluid, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
light you on fire.
Yeah,
And that's supposed to help with
joints and stuff.
joints.
Like that.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
But-
you sweat
okay.
though a lot. You can really you sweat.
I bet. If you're on fire, yeah.
Keeps you warm. It's like goat yoga.
I'd sweat if I
Keeps
was on
you
fire.
brewing. Keeps you brewing.
Keeps
I
you
bet, yeah.
brewing.
Yeah.
Talk about an open flame.
So what do you guys been
Yeah.
talking about?
yeah. Oh, yeah. All kinds of things.
A couple podcasts came out since I've been gone, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
We've
Did you
worked
tune
it
in
like-
while you were down there?
I didn't. No.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yep.
appreciate the support, Kyle.
You idiot.
Appreciate the support. But you, you finished your job this week?
The part timer.
Yeah. Bam.
It's done.
Trained that new one up and
Trained somebody new.
got
Cool.
on out of there.
Yeah.
Train
Damn.
someone?
Huh?
You trained someone?
I just showed him where like the mob was.
Oh.
And that was it.
Done.
What? Where was this at?
St. Julian's.
Oh, okay.
Fitness.
Oh, you were working
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Part time at night.
Sweet. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's over now. Just too much other stuff going on.
It's all over now.
But yeah,
Yeah.
got somebody else in there.
Boom.
More free time. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Free time to fill with other stuff. But yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It's good.
Very nice.
What about you? It's been up.
What has been up? Yeah. No, nothing too crazy. Just keep jamming.
When did I see you last Sunday? Jeez, that
Did you
feels
see
like
me
yesterday.
Sunday?
Yeah, does it feel like that?
Did you come to? Do we have a reading group?
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Reading
What'd we
group
do?
on
We read
Sunday
some
night,
Romans.
8 p.m., 8:30
Yeah,
p.m.
that was real
Mhm.
good.
Yep.
Mm.
Nothing new?
No, gotta go wash some trucks tomorrow.
Oh, it's Friday.
Yeah, well, this is the first time
Oh,
starting back up.
wow.
Oh my gosh, dude! I was like feeling my lower back, just mixing up those buckets, just messing around with those buckets. I'm like, oh my god.
Was there any
Pretty-
left over
pretty
from
tight,
last
huh?
season?
Oh, I bought some new stuff, but yeah, well, I just movements that I haven't done for a while.
Mhm.
It's
It's
supposed to be
gonna-
pretty nice tomorrow, isn't it?
I don't know. It was going back and
Hopefully.
forth.
Mhm.
But anyways, yeah.
Oh, my.
Oh my. I said,
So
oh my.
Getting back on it tomorrow, huh?
Getting back at it. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Did you have to test everything out this season?
I haven't yet. I'll do it tomorrow. But yeah.
No customization this year, though, right?
No.
Pretty much plug and play.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much ish. Ish kind of. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Faux show.
Cool.
Sweet.
So
Well,
what are we talking
tonight.
about this week?
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, if you'd stop talking, we'd figure it out.
Gosh, could have been done a half hour ago. Yeah. Today we're talking about the importance of remembering.
Remembering
Remember.
the Titans.
RESPECT.
No, that's
that's
respect.
respect.
Still means to me.
Sorry.
Remembering, okay.
Remembering. Yeah. Yes, the importance of remembering. You know, this concept, right, where, you know, God speaks a promise or you got purpose and you got some vision and you get into it. And as you're in the journey, you know, sometimes it doesn't always look like you thought it was going to look, or things don't happen as fast as you thought they were going to happen. And what can happen is that you can run into these instances where you kind of start focusing, you take your focus off what you're doing and you start looking at all the lack, like everything you don't have, everything you thought you should have but don't have, or, you know, what you should have accomplished or whatever, you know. And as you kind of start to look at this lack, you really start to get kind of discouraged. And you kind of get into this tunnel vision of like, you kind of forget why you were doing what you're doing. You forget where you're going, and you just really kind of just get into this discouraged mentality. But yeah, have you guys can relate to that at all?
Logan,
Yeah.
you can relate to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can.
Yes, that's my name.
Are you asking?
Yeah.
Or are you dancing?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I can
Yeah.
touch on it. Yeah, I think it's easy to I don't know, just have a vision, start to work it out, start to believe the right things, but then I don't know, I think for the biggest thing for me was realizing getting into it, like what it's actually going to take, and then having to overcome that. Just having to overcome that, like what does it actually look like? Like it's easy, I think, to get a vision and kind of work some of it out and say this is where I'm going, but then when you start to get into okay, what practically needs done to get to this destination, or to keep moving forward, what's practically needing to be done daily or weekly or monthly, and the things that you need to maybe or the people you need to talk to, or the things you got to write, the things you got to read, the research you got to do, or whatever. It's just like, okay, that stuff starts to get really real, and it's easy to just be like, yeah, I don't know about this anymore. And you got to just kind of revisit why you're there. And I think that's what weeds out, though, the other stuff that's really not your vision. Like when you're getting into things, or like, I don't know, maybe studying something in school, and you realize like, okay, this is going to take this subject or whatever I want to major in, whatever is going to take a lot of stuff I don't want to do. So I think that is a process that weeds out what's really true inside of you. When you realize what it's going to start to take, can you keep going? Do you decide to keep going? But yeah, I've noticed that is something that has caused discouragement, caused the tunnel vision to be like, even like, I don't know, even like focusing so much, like getting discouraged, but knowing this is what you want to do. So you try to even get more into it and more focused, which can even lead to, I don't know, maybe even more discouragement, because then you're trying so, I don't know, you're so intent on just, it's almost like you're trying to, I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is just like, if you get to that point, just take it easy. Just, I mean, not don't take your foot off the gas, but like don't get anxious or worried about stuff. Just continue to be like, okay, what's practical that I need done? And then just making sure that, or just being diligent in getting those things done. Just don't make it like this thing that's got to be this, you got to beat yourself up over, maybe something like that. Like, it's just easy to do that when you're discouraged. It's also easy to drop out. So it's like, I don't know, that stuff, I guess, refines what you really want. So do you really want this? That's just my
huge
experience, though.
No, that's huge. Yeah, what do you think, Kyle?
Thank you, Logan. That's good.
You're welcome.
So
So polite.
So like remembering the vision and the purpose.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
can you relate to just like having
Yeah.
some purpose, having some vision, and then
Sure.
it just taking a little bit longer, and then you go, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what is that? What is even happening right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to get complacent. Yeah, complacent, It's like starting a new workout routine. You get the vision of like the 10 pounds lighter or 15 pounds lighter, or maybe your bigger biceps, or maybe a 4-pack or whatever. Whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, and you do it, you go gung-ho, and you're doing it for a week, 2 weeks. You might even do it for a month.
Maybe 6 days.
And then you don't, and then you don't see the results, and you're like, oh man. And then it's very easy to get. This just
That's
came to my
true.
head, but it's very easy to get discouraged.
That's totally true.
Yeah, or like running a race. You start out real gung ho. You start out real fast, and then you're like walking midway, and it is. And so if we're talking about vision and like purpose, I kind of equate those to them. I think Hebrews talks about running the race, and I feel like that definitely sometimes. I felt like that the last like couple weeks. Like, whoa, like God, give me some strength to keep going. We talked about feelings aren't facts. Like not listening to those feelings of I'm inadequate, or I'm too tired to do this, or I don't have the resources, like just kind of pushing through that. So yeah, definitely I've felt that, and that's when I kind of pray and kind of regroup and refocus on some things, and not try not to get discouraged,
Yeah. I was thinking about the Israelites, and just this concept of how, like, you can see it with them, and then you can easily relate to it, but just like how easy it is to get lost, like where you're going, but like you say, you're not getting the results you thought you're getting, or it's just like you just kind of, like you're talking about, it's like it really tests your resolve, right? This is where perseverance comes in. But it's like what happens though is that when you start hanging out and you take your focus on what you're doing, and you're just kind of cultivating like lack, like you're only seeing lack. You're seeing what's not there, what should be there, but how come that's not there? I'm not doing enough. I can't figure it out. And you can get into this discouragement. And what happens in discouragement is like, it's tunnel vision. So it's like, it becomes really hard to remember. And so kind of looking at the Israelites, this is just like a real clear depiction of this reality. So the Israelites in Exodus are coming out of Egypt, right? So then they pass through the Red Sea, and then it's a 3-day journey to this first watering hole, and they get there, and the water is bitter. They can't even drink it. And so the people freak out. I mean, you have these people, right, who you got like babies, kids, teenagers, adults, older adults, real old adults.
Senior citizens.
Sure.
You have all the livestock, and it's like, and it's been a bit of a whirlwind, like coming out of Egypt. That's a real thing, like it was. And it's just like, you think about like you had to assume that they would have brought like jars of water and stuff, but they didn't have any for the animals probably, and maybe they're running out, whatever. But it's just like, day one, after passing through the Red Sea, no water. So day 2, you get up, you keep walking, no water. Yeah. Day 3, you get up, you got no water. You're like, oh, what are we even doing here? Like, what is even happening? Like, what, they just left everything that they once knew, and they're going out here. But at the same point, like, the reason why they left is because this was the promise. This was the promise that God made to Abraham 430 years like earlier. Moses came, and through Moses, God did all these crazy signs and wonders, right? And like, there was like 10 of them, I think. And then after that, Pharaoh let him go. So not only that, but then God told Moses, say, hey, tell the Israelites to go to their Egyptian neighbors and ask them for clothes, jewelry, and gold. And they gave it to him. And so in doing so, Israel totally looted Egypt. So here's Israel, right? They're coming out of being slaves, being oppressed by these crazy wonders. They just looted the Egyptians, and then they get down to the Red Sea, right? And then Pharaoh's army comes. And so this whole time they're following this like pillar of cloud. And at night it's like a pillar of fire. And so they've got this crazy visible sign that they're following. They've just seen all these crazy things. Okay, so now that here comes the army, right? The Red Sea parts, they go through it. The army tries to go through it. Red Sea crashes, kills the entire army. All right, so here we are on the other side of the Red Sea. We just saw some crazy things. It was scary. It was confusing. We're like, oh my gosh, we got to die. And then you get through the Red Sea, and now you go through this 3-day journey without any water. Mm-hmm. Well, by that 3rd day when they finally got to the water, they freaked out on Moses because they're like, dude, there's no water to drink. What are we going to do? What's happening? And God tells Moses, like, oh, hey, man, just grab that stick and chuck it in the water. One stick into a giant thing of water turned the bitter water into sweet water. I mean, the God who just turned like water into blood, who parted a Red Sea, who is literally in this pillar of cloud leading them, right? They're freaking out. What do we do? What do we do? And bam, just chuck a stick in the water. Yeah. Like nobody panic.
Made it in the sweet water. They're freaking out.
They were freaking out.
After 3 days, and then they ran into some like bitter water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but then this was kind of like the mentality they kept. Like, so a pattern that you follow and execute with repetition becomes a habit. So every time, so like 15 days later or so, like they were hungry, they had no food. So everybody freaked out. Well, then God brought them quail and manna. And then later on they freak out and like they freak out and they say, why did you take us out of Egypt to bring us into the wilderness to die? There, at least, we had food. We had bread. We're so sick of this manna. Like they continued to cultivate this mentality of lack and of suck. Because it's like what would happen is that they would go through a time where, they would think about what they once had and think about what they don't have. And that's the only thing they would think about. Right. So this is that perspective of when you kind of get into that tunnel vision of this sucks. This isn't quite what I thought it was. This is a little harder. It's taking more effort. It's taking more time. What the heck is happening? And you get into this tunnel vision and this is all you see, because what they forgot was that God was taking them to the promised land, right? This was a land where they were going to be free. This was a land flowing with milk and honey. This was a land of epic abundance. They were going somewhere, but all they could remember when they were in the lack, all they could remember is their past, what their past experiences. They couldn't see the vision. They couldn't envision what was ahead. They just kept going to the past. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, they cultivated this mentality of like, every time we're without, God's trying to kill us. Like that was the mentality they cultivated, to the point that it got them disqualified to getting into the promised land. Because finally they got to the promised land. Mm-hmm. sent spies in for 40 days. The guys come back. They're like, dude, everything God said was true, but the people are freaking huge. Like, it's impossible. I mean, it took 2 people to carry 1 cluster of grapes back. Like, it was just so full of abundance. But they were afraid of the people. And it's really easy, though, to like focus on the negative. It's super easy to get caught up in, what's not there, instead of like remembering what is, or where you're going and what you're doing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think it touches on this, but in those verses in those books, but like Satan had to be around there, knowing that these people were God's chosen people and heading to a land that was going to produce abundance and good fruit, not just plants and stuff, but like the people would prosper. So I feel like that if one way that I think the enemy or Satan wants to, or one way he can win is just to make you forget about who you really are, or what's really been done. It's making you just kind of forget those things and just cause a lack of belief in yourself, belief in God, belief in what's been done, what's being done. Just that confusion of I don't know if there's a way that because the Israelites were seeing all these great things. Satan could have showed them some really bad things, but they that who knows if that would have what that would have done. But instead, it's just almost like the tactic that the enemy was using was just confusing. And so it's just still, I think, still relevant today that there's a power out there trying to confuse you, make you forget who you are, forget about what's been done, what's being done, what is to be done. But I think it's easy just to get anxious and let anxiety run your life when you don't know, because you don't know something, or you can't see what's going to happen quite clearly.
Yeah, that's real.
So it's almost like a mindset that you just need to have to just be like, I don't know, almost like step outside of yourself. I think remembering, like you said, who you really are is extremely important. I think that kind of takes away some of the sting of the anxiety, which is just remembering who you are, but then having the mindset to be like, I don't really care that I don't know everything right now.
Yes.
I'm still going to keep doing this. Yeah. So I think that's an important mindset that it's hard to have, to just say, I don't really care what it exactly looks like, right? I don't really care if I don't know exactly what it looks like. I'm still going to keep moving ahead, and then just letting that peace just kind of settle in and be okay with that. I don't know, because I was getting anxious today, just because work was like I was gonna end at a certain time today, but it just kept going. Just like calls, text messages, all this stuff just kept running into time that I was going to cut it off at a certain time and just go do other things. But so that kind of just fed into like, okay, now I'm losing time to read. I'm losing time to work on the vision. I'm losing time to be at the gym, just stuff that was other things that were high on my priority list. And it caused anxiety. I started to like realize in my head, like I'm literally letting this control me, this worry. And I'm forgetting about my God. I'm forgetting about who I am and who God made me to be, and I'm letting this stuff cause this almost like sickness inside of me, which I think worry is. It's just starts to take over. And so I can really relate to that. But it's like we have to get that mindset of like, I don't really care that just not these things that are trivial, these things that are trying to confuse you. It's almost just having this mindset of just stepping outside yourself and saying, I don't really care about these things right now. Not that these things are, not saying that about the important things, the things you're going to, but like these things that are trying to confuse you, or these trivial things like, if I call this guy back tomorrow, it's not going to be the end of the world. If I don't get back to this person right now, it's not going to be the end of the world. So just stepping outside and just having that mindset of I don't care if I don't know what it looks like right now. I don't know. It's just, it's just
No, because that's like making a decision beyond your emotional state.
Yeah.
Like where all your emotion in you wants to like freak out or focus on this or why how come like you just hold on to the fact that you don't have an answer to a question, but like you're talking about, you're like, I don't care, because that's faith, right? That's where you start to take experience into account. You'd be like, all right, well, the Israelites ran in, maybe for 3 days they thought, maybe we're not going to find water, maybe we are going to, it's like, but it's like, so the mentality that you should create is like, you use your past experiences. So, all right, 3 days, we don't have water. They freak out. All right, that's one thing. Okay, well then 15 days later, they freaked out. Okay, and then there was another one where they freaked out again about water. It's like, at some point, the goal is to use your past experience to make better decisions. So just like you're talking about, well, it's like, okay, well, I've been in a situation where I was confused and where it was hazy. I wasn't really sure what was next, but all I know is that if I hang out in this, I'm going to get swept up into emotional downward spiral where eventually I'm just going to get over it and get back into vision and purpose. So instead of going down that emotional downward spiral, I'm just going to keep moving. Like I'm going to let go of the fact that I don't have an answer. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm just going to keep doing and focus on that instead of getting into this suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
Man. So yeah, they got to the promised land and saw these like they were carrying back some big grapes. You're saying
They did see some big grapes.
A lot of big grapes out there. Yeah. So they're like,
grape.
Wow. So I'm like getting this mental image of them all like griping and moaning, and then they like, step over and it's like this transition where they see it and they're like, oh, here we were, just all up in our heads about that this is never gonna end, and then it kind of it happens. So yeah, like you said, having that faith, like looking at the past, but then also having the faith, like, okay, these things have been handled, and it might seem scary, it might seem daunting, but we're gonna keep on marching on, and not fall victim to like the lies that that this isn't going to come to an end, or that this isn't going to bear some kind of fruit, because it obviously did, but just that impatience was, oh, we want it, we want it now, and it's like, okay, well, they got it, but it's just, that can be a real trigger too, that impatience to just keep going with the flow, even when you feel discouraged from it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's all like stuff I was talking about, just myself, just kind of talking to myself. Is like I brought all that stuff on by nothing was like putting that stuff, that worry, that anxiety on me. I was creating it in my head and then feeding it and feeding it and feeding it until it was just to a point where it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Where am I at? And it's just having to just, I don't know.
So how did you step out of that? Just kind of said, what, you recognized it?
Yeah, I just tried to stay on what I had planned beforehand. So like so I wanted to go to the gym. So trying to I didn't feel like going after all this stuff and all this, all this anxiety was starting to happen. And like, okay, there's still work to be done, all this stuff. I didn't get a chance to do the other stuff that was on the priority list. But it was like, okay, I'm still going to go just move around, just move my body for a little bit, just to try to get it off, just to let, I don't know. I think it just exercise was healthy. Talking to people, I think, was definitely healthy. Like instead of just sitting in my own head, there's talking to people at the gym just helped to just start alleviate that. And then just like being conscious of what you're doing, like realizing that you're spiraling out of control, and then just trying to pump the brakes. But
yeah, because like you said, you're like, you come to a point where you're like, forget it. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't care that I can't see.
Yeah.
It's like a big sandstorm. I'm still going.
Right.
Yeah.
The stop, recognize,
and employ.
Recognize, stop, employ one.
Yeah.
Whichever way that is.
Yeah. You recognize it. That's the first step. right?
Then
Because you,
stop.
like you said you recognized that you were.
I was creating this
Yeah, you thought about
disaster.
it. So you're right. You saw it. You were able to see what was happening. Why are you thinking and why are you feeling like you're feeling? So recognizing, step number 1. 2 is then to stop, because like if you don't stop, you'll just continue to go down that cycle. So you got to stop, and then you employ the kingdom mindset, which is like you remember the truth, and then you get in like you did. You get into reality, which means you have to get out of your head. So you literally went outside to the gym where there was people, started moving around, focusing on other things, talking to other people, and it got you out of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it's done. Champion.
It sucked there for a second.
Yeah. Well, shoot.
Honest.
Yesterday. That was yesterday. I was starting to look at some stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, is what I'm doing even matter? Like, is it, I was seeing what wasn't there,
Sure.
but what I thought should be there. And so I started to get discouraged. And then I started to think about that daily cultivation I wrote that very morning, which was remember. And I was like, this is very applicable right now. because I got into it, into like the focusing on what wasn't there. But then I could start feeling it because the emotion of discouragement was just starting to rise up. And then I had remembered what I was thinking about that morning. And so I quickly jumped on to remembering. And I was just thinking about commitment. I was just thinking about how commitment isn't contingent on the circumstances. It's not contingent on like what you have accomplished or haven't. How it might not look like you thought it was going to look, but commitment is not contingent on that, and neither is the promise of God. Neither is the purpose or vision that you have in God. It's not contingent on the circumstances. It doesn't matter what it looks like, which is crazy because sometimes if you look at it too long, you can look like, how is this even possible? But shoot, yeah. And you said it. You talking about getting in patience and in Numbers. The Israelites, they have this one where, they were getting. It literally said they were getting impatient, and they were tired of eating manna. They're like, I want bread. Why did you bring us out of Egypt to kill us in the wilderness? And we're so tired of eating this miserable food, like we want bread. Well, God's response to that was he sent a bunch of snakes that started killing a bunch of people.
Wow.
That was the
Oh man. But you just think like they were like yelling at Moses. They're just like, we're so done with this miserable food. And I was just laughing. I was like, man, dude, it's possible to be there. But it's like, but the important thing was that they said that they got impatient, which means like they said, we're tired of eating this food. We want the bread that we had back in Egypt, right? Like at least we knew what we had back there. At least we had food. We had pots full of meat. So it's like they were just picturing what they didn't have and what they once had. Right. Because they crossed the sea, right? In faith, they walked across the sea into this new journey of life and division and purpose, right? And abundance. But it's like the journey was long and they kept cultivating lack and they kept thinking about what their past. Like when all you have is when all you think about is what you don't have and in your past, that sucks. Like that's a cycle of suck. That's discouragement. That's what would cause you to lash out at people and freak out and say, we're so done with this miserable food. That just freaking appears every morning by God. Yeah. And you're following this cloud still. You still have these things. Yeah. But it's like you cultivate, when you start thinking about, you focus on what you don't have and what you wish you had or what you once had. And what happens, though, is you totally forget why you're doing what you're doing, right? And so this kind of like, there was this book I read. It was this guy who was an ex-Navy SEAL called David Rutherford. And I think the book was like Forging Self-Confidence or something. Well, anyways, in the book, he's talking about, he shares these different stories about what it took to become a Navy SEAL. And one of the things they did every day was get cold, wet, and sandy. So they were in California, and Pacific Ocean, it's like 60 degrees or whatever. And I don't know when training starts. I think it might be in the fall or winter or who knows. But anyways, it's cold water. So anyway, every morning you go and you boots, pants, shirts, you go jump in to the water. Then you come back on land, lay down, and do what's called a sugar cookie, which is where you grab the sand and throw it all over you. I'm talking about face, head, going down your neck. It's all over your body, everywhere. Sugar cookie. Now you are ready to run 4 miles. Now you are ready to do the obstacle course, which is nuts, right? Because if you've ever been in salt water alone, right, when the water evaporates off your clothes, the salt crystals are left, which causes friction, abrasion, right? Now you throw sand in the mix, all right? You're picturing some decent chafage.
It's like a blender.
Yeah, right. So cold, wet, and sandy, right? Like, I mean, being cold is one thing, and then adding wet on top of that is a whole nother layer of crazy, and then the abrasion of just sand all over you, sand and salt. So, but it's like you think about this, right? Because you have two options. One is that you dial it in, right? You get focused on the task and you forget about your environment, right? Because if you can complete your task regardless of the environment, then you can succeed, right? So one option is to focus on what it is you're after and do it regardless, like overlook, forget about how it feels and get so focused on what you're doing that just nothing else matters. Or two, think about the pain. Picture the pain. It's cold. It's wet. This sucks. Cultivate quitting and then quit. Like those are kind of like your two options. And the whole point is it's exactly what you were talking about, where it's like it tests your resolve, where it's like, all right, it's the only people that they want are the people who won't quit, who will push through and then get it done. Not just push through, but they'll get it done. And the people who just want to, who, whatever, I'm not trying to say it's not a crazy situation, but like the people who just, when you start focusing on the pain, and it's like a 6-month ordeal. So, I mean, you think about like maybe the first day, couple days, maybe you're pumped, you just got there, but like then you have these guys who are yelling at you, telling you to quit. Like, you suck. Like, go home. You suck. You quit. Like, this is like, you could picture the spiritual reality, like, in this. Like, these guys are hammering them, telling them to do all these things. And the whole thing is like, just quit, man. You could get a hot shower, warm meal, just quit. Just quit. Just quit. And it's like, in horrendous physical conditions, mental conditions, and you just got to get after it. And it's just that concept of, just focus on what you're after and why you're after it. In a situation like this, you cannot afford to let go of the hope, of purpose, of vision. You can't afford to let it go. What do you guys think about getting cold, wet, and sandy?
Makes me hungry for a sugar cookie. Yeah, man. Yeah, they knew. Makes me, as you wake up in the morning and it's like, you're tired and, it's going to be the same routine and excuses galore in your head on, why am I doing this? Blah, 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 blah. At least I do. And, you just got to get on your phone and you scroll on Facebook or whatever and you see all like pictures and just, I don't know. In the morning I can have a lot of negative
pictures of people doing other stuff.
Yeah. Or just feeling can really fill that that tank of comparison or trying to get the motivation to just get up and do it. And I was thinking, it's one of those things like that Nike, just do it. Put the cell phone away. Get up and have that morning routine, which I found is really important. Spend an hour of meditation, reading some devotional things, and pushing through the feeling tired, and then on top of that you have the all the stuff on top of that can just add to that added pressure of not wanting to do it. But and then you get to work or whatever your thing is that is you're doing at the time, and that you get busy and you get out of your head, you do the behaviors that get you out of there, and generally then you get away from that and realize why you're on that. I think the biggest thing is like the gym, just getting there is the biggest thing, and sometimes we just gotta suit up and show up and get our butts going to make it happen. Whether you're working or not working or whatever you define as being productive, it's just a matter of putting that footwork into it, that initial footwork to keep going. But yeah, I give those guys mad props. That would be, and you could think about it, you're going in there with a plan to become a Navy SEAL. You're going in there with, I'm going to do it, and how much pain and stuff that's got to take to really kick you off and everything like that. So, yeah. I'm glad you said that, because it just makes me focus on, okay, keep on going despite that. And I think that's where accountability and having supportive people and being reminded of this is really important.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, Logan, you ever get I was going to ask, you ever get anxious or discouraged and you just talk to yourself for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was for 15 minutes.
15?
Today.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Just hey, it's going to be all right. All right, cool.
Yeah, stop being a little B word.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Quit being a little beach ball.
Yeah.
It worked out, yeah.
I think that's what
and you work out, sorry to interrupt, but you work out 4 or 5 days a week, right? You get to the gym.
You got a 5-pack, right?
That's a big commitment of yours, right? So
something's under there.
So and you've been doing that for a while.
And sometimes,
yeah.
And sometimes, today I literally felt like just driving by and then just going back.
But you feel better after you do it.
Yeah, it's just
actually you got a little part-time gig working there by showing your 5-pack off, didn't you?
just janitorial staff.
That's all right.
But
move those mobs.
So yeah.
But yeah, that's what I thought about when I heard that. It was okay, not that it's your life has to be like that, cold, wet, and sandy. We're not trained to be Navy SEALs, but in all reality, it's quit being a little B word when you wake up.
Quit being a little beach ball.
It's like a pot of chili, boys.
It's
it just doesn't taste as good as the 4th or 5th day. Well, maybe the 2nd or 3rd day. You gotta it takes patience to get those beans and meat to kind of settle in.
You mean it does taste better on the 3rd?
It tastes better on the 3rd day.
Yeah, right.
On the 3rd day,
It just gotta soak a little bit.
It's gotta soak. A lot of things take patience. Really, think about it. Whatever, a quote fine wine or whatever, or aged cheese from under, It takes a while, man.
It does take a while.
And they're more expensive. They're think about it, like a diamond or something. I don't know, I'm just going off on a tangent, but just things I'm thinking about how patience can really be developed. That patience and persistence can really develop that character.
Yeah, anything great is always preceded by a challenge or a problem that needs solved, right? And I just think that Navy SEAL story was these guys are no different than just normal guys. So it's just a testament to how far the human mind can be focused and dialed in on something. And if you're
it explodes, yeah.
If we're
or implodes,
yeah. So I'm sitting here worried about, oh man, I didn't want to work this late tonight. I didn't want to live this way. When it's okay, I'm really being a little couple words that I could say but shouldn't say. And so that's just what I think about. It's like give up or get up, shut up or show up.
Yeah, shut up and show up.
And the thing,
Those
you
are
have a
the
lot
options.
of good things. You have your bicycle that you can get to work on. You have a place to live.
I have a frying pan.
You have
That's all you need.
some milk.
A window.
You had some food.
Yeah.
So you're pretty well taken care of.
Plumbing.
Plumbing, yeah.
It's all standard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think look at yourself and take a good gander at your insides. And but I like that story.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I mean, because kind of like we've been talking about, but like that you were talking about, like being complacent, like that's lethargic in thinking, and hoping, dreaming, but just in the journey. It does take patience, which is interesting because sometimes it's like you kind of think it should just be instant. Which is interesting because there's nothing really in life that becomes like instant. Everything's got a process.
Instant oatmeal.
But even that has a process. It's quicker.
It's gotta be heated.
It's quicker, but it's not as good, is it?
I just put a bunch of sugar in it, so I don't really care. But get the flavored ones. But so Moses in Deuteronomy. So anyways, Moses in Deuteronomy, he's getting all of Deuteronomy is Moses' farewell speech. And so this is the first round of Israelites who went to the promised land got disqualified because they were like, oh, the people are too big. We can't do it. So God's like, fine, forget it. You guys aren't going. So you're going to wander around the desert for 40 years. And then your kids who are 20 and younger are going to be able to go in. So this is the next round. So all Deuteronomy, Moses is like, holy freak, you're about to go into the promised land where it's going to be epic. But whatever you do, don't forget about God, right? Don't go making idols. Don't go, he's like, and in this one, I think it's, Deuteronomy 6 in verse 4, he's like, look, man, the Lord God, he is our God, and he is the only God. He said, so love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. He said, whether you go out or you come in, talk about this. When you wake up and when you go down, talk about this. With your kids, talk about this. He says, write it on a band and put it on your wrist. Write it down and put it on your forehead. He says, write it on your doorpost, write it on your front gate. He's like, do not forget this. And it's just this concept, right? Because he's just talking about how, like, look, man, it's going to be good. It's going to be epic. You're going to have this abundance. You're going to have more than you need. Your stomachs are going to be full and it's going to be wonderful. But just don't forget that it was God who gave it to you. He's like, well, and then, then maybe some of you would say, well, it was my strength that provided this, right? Because you did the work, cultivate it. He says, yeah, but don't forget that it was the Lord God who gave you the ability to create wealth and to achieve these things. And so I think Moses, I think he was just out of every fiber of his being, he was like, wanted to help these people succeed and not to forget, even though God was like, look, man, these people are going to forget. And so anyways, but he was like, all right, man, so just don't stop talking about it. Talk about it with everybody. Like, talk about it, and he's talking about loving the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, man, which is what our purpose and vision is about. It's about the kingdom, man. What we're after is about the kingdom. So he says, keep talking about it. Don't, this goes back into old day, keep it cultivated, right? They're like, don't let the law depart from your lips, right? Continue so that you remember to do everything that it says to do, and therefore you will prosper in everything you do. It's just like this continual, the one who meditates on the law day and night is like a tree planted by streams of water. So in the same way, he's just like, hey man, just don't stop talking about it, right? Then write it down on your wrist. Talk about it with your kids. Put it on your forehead. I don't know if they had mirrors back then, but it's like, or at least so the person you're talking to can see it,
like a sticky note.
Yeah.
Hangs down.
Yeah. just freaking write it on your door, like everywhere you go. Because what happens, right, is so if you get into the discouragement, right, you start focusing on the lack, it gets real hard to remember like the purpose and the vision, right? You start getting discouraged. You start going, oh my gosh, this is, like, okay, like you could embrace the whining.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like sometimes it becomes hard to see and it becomes hard to remember because the only thing you're focusing on and you're lasered in on it is lack. You're only focused on what you don't see. So if you have these reminders up, everywhere, you put it on your phone. I mean, some study said that most people pick up their phone 400 times a day. So if you put something on your home screen or on your phone, right, like where you use an established habit, like somewhere where you continue to show up. What is going on?
4 times a day.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know who they tested, but it was probably Logan.
Probably like
Golly.
I look at my phone like 4 times a day. If that.
4,000 times.
Car phone.
Huh?
It's because it's one of those old-fashioned car
It's
phones.
a car phone. Yeah, exactly.
And the other one is
it needs plugged into the wall.
one of
to
those
look
foam
at
cup phones that you think is a real
It's
phone.
got a 16-foot cord on it.
Yeah. Put a reminders. Yeah.
Put a reminder. Yeah. Like wherever you go. Like, so I use my whiteboard to kind of process and start getting ideas out there. And it's like on that whiteboard, I have like different sayings all around it that, talk about like, hey, don't think about dragging your feet. This is a year to produce. So produce things, be persistent and consistent, right? Like whatever God called you to do, he gave you the ability to do. Like all those things are on there so that when I'm working on these things, I look at those and I'm like, oh, yep. It just reinforces confidence. It reinforces motivation. It reinforces perseverance. It reinforces like when I start thinking, oh, maybe this one thing that I'm doing, maybe it's not that important. And I look back at the board, I'm like, oh crap, that is important. Because it goes back to commitment isn't contingent based upon how many views you're getting or just the circumstances or the situations. Your commitment doesn't freaking care what it feels like today, right? Commitment is that regardless of what it feels today, I'm going to keep jamming. And every day after that, I'm going to keep jamming. And it's just like, you think about the getting cold, wet, and sandy, where it's like you got to get into the motivation like you're talking about just the gym where like, I don't really want to go. But it's like you think about these guys. You think about getting cold, wet, and sandy. I could whine about this. I could whine about how I'm tired, how I'm hungry, how this, how that. Or I could just shut the freak up, get up, and get out and get into it. And it's like that's how you push through kind of that emotional haze of discouragement. Because it's an illusion. It's a trap is what it is. And you don't want to cultivate this mentality because the people, the Israelites, who had the straight up physical, like visual manifestation of God, like forgot. When Moses was up on the mountain the first time for 40 days and 40 nights, when he went up there, it would look like it was a blazing fire. But so while he's gone, everybody's like, we don't know if Moses is ever coming back. Aaron, why don't you make us a freaking idol? Yeah. He's like, oh, okay. Give me all your rings and we'll just carve you up a cow. And they're like, oh, look, this cow's the one who brought you out of Egypt. It's like, what? That one's kind of out there. Mm-hmm. Because the mountain is still right. You could see the mountain. Like that one is kind of out there for me. But whatever. They just went back to what was normal, which was like, just make something and that can be your God. It's just like, it's easy to kind of fall back into complacency or fall back into the old pattern of thinking and feeling and acting, fall back to the pattern of this world. But it's like, no, I don't care. F this. Quit being a little beach ball. Get sandy, get wet, and get freaking into it. But whatever you do, freaking remember the promise, because the promise, when God says something, he means it, right? He's not a man that he should lie. So it's like, sometimes it's like the things that God say, sometimes they're in the forefront of your mind, like you're thinking about it. You get jacked up, you get pumped, right? Like you're like, freak, this is like amazing. And then maybe the next day, it's in the back of your mind. And you got different things going on and different emotions. Well, whether that thought is in the back of your mind or the front of your mind, it doesn't change the fact that God said it. And so what God said is for reals and for true. And so as we continue to cultivate hope, we cultivate vision and purpose, and we continue with repetition to hold on to these things. See, if you put these things, these reminders, right? A verse, a promise, some vision, some purpose, whatever it is, you put these stuff up around your house and you keep talking about it. What do? You're creating a pattern of life, right? You're creating a pattern of like these reinforcing truths, these reinforcing promises. As you continue with repetition to behold them, you will continue to reflect them in your life, in the way you think, in the way you feel. You will literally become somebody totally different because, right, like if you could think about these Navy SEAL guys, they come in one way and you got to believe they come out different, right? I mean, people who have been able to endure everything that they've endured, you don't come out the same, right? You come out stronger. You come out more confident. You come out more resolved. You come out with the ability to handle any situation. So this is who we're created to be. People who will continue to jam on regardless of what it looks like. So remember, when in doubt, remember why, remember where, why are you doing what you're doing, where are you going, and why were you going there? What was the thing that got you up and out the first time? What was the reason that God brought Israel out of Egypt? It was to go to the promised land. Remember why and get back into it. My good peoples, thanks for kicking it with us. Till next time, peace.